Hey everyone, how you doing? Dan with Dan's 30-foot Dory Bill. Well, I just thought I'd let you know what I was up to in the last week. Yesterday evening, well, let's move back a little further than that. Yesterday afternoon, I'm going to walk over to the back of the boat. And I came out here like a crazy man in 24, 25, maybe even 28 degree weather to sit down on this bottom of this boat, and I actually sanded out the whole boat. I mean, it didn't take very long. I think I've been standing for about 2.5 hours. Now, I noticed all the, well, that tree behind me right there, way up there, drops a lot of stuff. Whoa, there we go. Boy, this is hot. And anyway, as I was grinding the surface down so I can prime this and get it out of the way for now, I noticed how much stuff actually fell out of the tree and stuck to the fiberglass resin as I was doing the fiberglass. Ooh, I don't think I'll be able to walk on this. So I sat down on my butt because I can't crouch down on my knees, and it was hot. Believe me, my legs felt it, my butt felt it, and every time I moved a little bit, the heat, it was just really hot. And I had to wash my legs and my hands. But I figured if I didn't come out then, yesterday afternoon, I probably wouldn't have gone out, because sometimes I get lazy, and some people are like that. Especially after working all week in the sun on that hot ramp. The last thing I want to do is come home and sit in the scorching sun on top of a very hot surface and sit there and grind it and sand it. So, which I did. So I'm just going to give you an idea of what I did and what worked. So first of all, I did go out and purchase a 3x21 belt, a 40 grit. I know that's extreme. For that belt sander I bought, which I did a little bit of a video on, and I still feel the same about it, but I didn't want to sit here with 80 grit and be here all year, because it sanded it up, it scratched it okay, but it wasn't taking anything down like the seams, because the seams are like 4 layers thick. Sorry about the noise, the plow's going by. They do this twice a year. It's a rock road in the back there. So anyway, I got the belt set up so it wouldn't rip. It's still 1/4 of an inch off center, but I'll just have to live with that. So anyway, I brought the machine outside here, and I took it to those seams, which were 4 layers thick. And you can still see a bit of the seams, but not as much as I did before I started sanding them. And it took it down real fast, really nice. And then in between the seams and the seams themselves, I took the 80 grit palm sander, orbital palm sander, and I went over that, and it cut really nice too. So that worked for me. Okay, so the belt sander and the orbital sander, the palm sander, it worked really nice. The bottom is not beautiful, perfect, and you know what? I don't care. And what I mean by that is it's not bad, and it'll sit in the water anyway, right? So I got 1 coat of primer on it right now. I'm going to end up putting 3 coats of primer on it, do a few touch-ups here and there, and that's it. So I'll give you a little insight of what I've done. Now, all of this has been brushed on by hand. I could not find my roller handle, and to be honest with you, if I used a roller on this yesterday, I wouldn't have had enough paint to finish the bottom. So I finished about 1/10 of a can, which got me up to this shady area here. And then from here all the way back, I popped open a new can and used about half that can. And this is what I got. You can see all the lines from the wood in there. Of course, since it's wood, you won't get rid of it. Now, traditionally, if you were using the right wood for this and not pine, you would leave a very little space in between them, and you'd knock a cotton filler in there, and then you would caulk it, and then you would prime it, and you would paint it. But since we went with fiberglass, I don't think you have to do all that. You just glass it, and this is what it looks like. You can see all the lines in it. There's a few spots I have to repair. I'm going to use the word repair. Clean up a little bit. But for the most of it, it's not bad. It's the bottom of the boat. Oh, this is hot. Woo! This is hot. Okay, I'm going to start dancing right about now. I won't be here too long. Holy crow, you see that? It's all primed. Okay, I'm going back. I'm burning. Oh, I'm burning. I'm burning. Holy smoke. Alberta's a beautiful place, I guess, if you like green and brown, but the heat when it's here, like I said before, it gets really hot. So all that's done there. I got 2 more coats of primer to put over this, and I'm going to move on after I touch it up here and there. There's a little bit more work I can do on this, and I will make an effort to clean it up a bit more. Not that anybody's ever going to see it once it's flipped over. Okay, now we're going to go down off this ladder here. Hang on to your stomach. I got to hang on. I don't got the knees I used to have when I was a younger fellow about 30 years ago. Now here, I won't talk much about this, but I put a little bit of filler down there to test it out. I want to test out some filler with flour. And all this ugliness here, and I'm sure you can see that in the camera. All that ugliness there. I'm going to take that 40 grit paper and try to get rid of that. Just try to save on some work, because it does rip pretty good. Okay, and another thing I noticed here the other day when I was shooting my mouth off, look at the finish on this. You see how rough that looks? See how rough that is? That is water spots. Now, one of my videos not very long ago, 1 or 2 weeks ago, I posted trying to tarp the boat up just before it started raining. I mean, I was just finished glassing, and then the drops came down, and I ran like a madman to get those 4x8 sheets over there, propped up against the boat, and throw the tarp over. But it looks like the rain got this side a little bit. You can see all those indentations. They're all the way along the side here. Yeah, a little bit in here. And for some reason, the front's pretty good. It hardly got hit. But this is where I started putting the tarps up. Okay? Now you see that seam over there? That has to be sanded out with a belt sander. There's one here. It will be sanded out with a belt sander. Then I'll go over it with 80 grit, and then I'm going to call it a day. I think that'll take care of most of this. But if the bottom is any example of how the finish is going to be on the side, I think I'm going to be considered very lucky. This side over here, I prematurely primed it. They tell me I can't use automotive putty on here, or I shouldn't use automotive putty to fill up these things, and because it holds water. Well, I've got a lot of experience doing body work, and I've never had a car lose paint or bubble up because of putty. But if you got your primer down first and you use putty on the primer, I believe I can use the putty and fill all these holes up, then prime it again, and there should be no problem. That is just my opinion, my experience with body work. Most of these blemishes could be taken care of with automotive putty. Now, I know they say it retains water. Somebody would have to really explain to me what that means. Retains water. I mean, the stuff dries out, you sand it, it's like powder, comes right off. And it stays in wherever you're using it to hide whatever, and you prime over it. Well, the primer should seal the putty. So that's what I may just do, just to see how right or how wrong people are about. Now, there's also Bondo. Now, Bondo dries harder, but they say it still holds water. It holds the moisture. So I don't know if the Bondo cures on a day like today when it's 23 degrees and the panel is so hot you can't keep your hand on it. You can't tell me when it kicks. There's moisture in it. And then when you're done, you prime it. Done. Prime it. So that's kind of where I'm going with this, okay? But the big thing today is I wanted to show you the top of the bottom of the boat. It's upside down. I keep on calling it the top, but you know what I mean. You get the idea. Now I was out here this morning and I did this 3 times. For some reason, the first time and the second time I did it, there were spaces where the video, oops, sorry, I'm right in the sun, where the video actually stopped. I don't know what happened. The picture's still there, but the video stopped. So today I ordered a new phone. My wife's trying to tell me that this one I'm using is 10 years old. I can't believe it's 10 years old. Maybe 8, but whatever, I'm not going to argue with her. So I've purchased on order a brand new phone, up-to-date phone, and maybe it's time to do so, even though this one still records. And it does a few weird things, but me, you know, you get to a certain age, I don't got 50 people calling me a day like a young person has, always going somewhere. I more or less use it to keep it in contact with my wife and my children. Whoa, there we go. It's just switching hands, they're getting tired. So anyway, yeah, so all that said, also as my last video, I had trimmed the whole boat out. And I also fiberglass on the bottom of that edge, so when the water runs down, it goes underneath, it doesn't rot the wood out. It's not marine ply, like I had mentioned in my other videos. It's Baltic birch. It's 18 mil, they call it. A hair over 3/4 of an inch. It bent around the hull. Really nice. I mean, I had to push it. It's 3/4 inch plywood. I had to push it. It's 7 layers thick. If you count the layers on the end, there's 7 layers. And I think 3/4 inch plywood is actually 5. So it's a little different. They use this stuff for building cabinets and the type of wood you want to finish and keep the wood grain showing. It's really beautiful for that. And it's inexpensive because even right now I think you can get it for $66 a sheet Canadian if you can find it. Yeah, so there we go. You know, I'm really enjoying building this boat. I knew it was going to be a very big job. I'm not kidding you or anybody else. But I am really stunned on how far I've gotten in 2 seasons. Now, like I said, we got ugly weather for almost 7 months of the year before I can come back and work on this. Because I can't work on it in September. Because the middle or 3/4 of the way through August, the weather starts to change and it gets colder where the products, either won't cure or won't cure for a long time, and we cannot have that kind of thing going on. So with that being said, I'm going to sit down for a second here. So with that being said, I truly, the only thing that stops me from advancing further is money. And that goes for almost anything, doesn't it? Money. So I budgeted. I was lucky this year. My wife did some paperwork. We sent some paperwork out and they had politely sent me a check. Had to do with my health. And I made the decision to buy 12 gallons of resin. So the resin comes in a 3-gallon kit. Two 1-gallon containers of resin and 1 gallon of epoxy hardener, fast drying hardener. Okay, and we're looking at $460 a pop. So I bought 4 of them. Now I'm lucky. I've done this, and I think I've mentioned it before. I've done this at this point. I have done this with 6 gallons. I shouldn't say liters. Even though I'm Canadian, I don't use the system. 6 gallons so far. Now, as far as I can tell, I shouldn't need any more on the outside of this hull. I shouldn't. With the primer and the 3 coats of primer, and I'm going to do some filler, I shouldn't need to use any more epoxy. So, mosquitoes, they're really bad this year. So much rain, we have so many mosquitoes. They won't stop. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to save those 6 gallons that are left over for the inside. It'll have to be epoxy, a waterproof epoxy. The bottom will have to be epoxy and sealed up. And then I have a floor to run through it. Now, I'm not too sure what kind of floor I'm going to do. I mean, some guys use a 3/8 plywood. and they install that throughout and fit it around the 2x4s, and that's what they walk on. I've seen some people use 2x4s instead of plywood, right? Right, 5/8 plywood, right. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna end up doing is most of the floor will have to be laid out, I think, with 2x4s. And I'll mill them so they're square with my planer, so there's no round edges on them, and they're all the same size, and I should make it easier to walk on. And in the back, I'm going to have a double bilge pump. I haven't drilled no holes in the back of the boat yet. I'm not too sure how I want to handle that. Most people will put 2 holes in or 1 hole and put the drain plug in. Now, I'm not trying to be silly, but when I watch videos, I watch all kinds of videos on boating, and it seems like a lot of people forget to put drain plugs in when they put their boat in the water. Well, you never guess what happens. If they catch it fast enough, they run back to the dock, they get the boat out of the water, and get the water out of there. If I have a bilge pump inside, and a second one for backup, I don't see why I have to drill holes in the hull. But I'm still looking into that, okay? If you get a heavy rain and you got a bilge pump, 12-volt dual 12-volt bilge pump in there, if the water even gets remotely high enough to worry about, it should pump the water out, shouldn't it? And of course, you're going out with a hand pump also as a backup in case you lose power. I mean, it's always smart to be prepared for the worst, right? So this boat will not be seeing the water until I get all this extra equipment all set up and all my safety equipment installed, you know, when I start using it, to make sure I am safe and my family is safe in the boat when we go out and not have no fear of sinking. And, you know, the proper life jackets and all that stuff will be in there also. And a few other things also that I've been seeing that seems like when a boat gets larger, you're supposed to carry more stuff. I've got the manual. I got the Canadian safety manual on boating. It'll tell me exactly what the basics I need for a 30-foot range boat, and I may just carry extra for safety. But that's not here yet. I'm just sharing that with you to let you know how I'm thinking. So right now the floor needs 2 coats and a little bit of touch up. This side will be sanded down. I'm going to see how that works out. There should be enough thickness of epoxy on there to take off that one layer that's creating all this ugliness. So that's about all I have for you today, folks. I believe I have 71 subscribers if I read the blog properly. Wow, 71. The other day somebody joined up and committed himself to subscribing to my channel, and it really makes me feel really good to see that there's people interested in the build, you know. And it's not for me, you know, it's for you. I'm putting these videos out there for you, for anybody who wants to build one, give you an idea of the kind of trouble you get into, things I'm going through that maybe you're going to avoid, things like that. You know, like I was watching a video this morning on what do they call it, wrapping boats. They take a film and there's colors or all black or whatever you want, it seems, pictures, fish, and then I watched one guy try to install it for the first time, and he got wrinkles in his finish. And I looked at it and I went, well, I know a little bit about the covering, just a bit. He didn't pull the material tight enough, and he didn't start squeegeeing in the middle and working it out. So I watched another video, and he was getting help for a buddy of his. Now I watched another video. Those 2 guys almost had the same boat. So the same thing, 22 inches wide, 16, 17 feet long, and they pulled on it really tight, and then they started to tack the top and the bottom, and then they worked from the middle and worked their way across, and it came out beautifully. So sometimes it pays to check out YouTube just to see how the professionals do it, and it gives you a chance to get it done right. He said he can live with it. It was like a little ripple. You couldn't get it out unless you picked the paper up. They committed it, and he was done. So that's okay. Okay, that's him. He's got to live with it. And If you pull on this stuff hard enough, it looks like you can really put it down. It looks good. It is expensive. It is expensive. They quoted, they told the video, in the video, they quote the price that they got to have it done for them, and I couldn't believe the price for such a small area. 21 by 17 was almost $3,000. Yeah. Now, they said if he did it himself, it should run him around $200. So think about that for a second. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, what do they charge an hour to put this stuff on, right? It's almost, you can almost get a car painted for that price. Anyway, we won't go any further. But these videos here to help you, to let you know these boat designs exist. This is one of 6. The other one he had done before he passed away was a 55-footer. Exactly the same design, just bigger. Some people, I understand, have used them to make fishing boats out of them. So they're being built and they are being used. So I think this is just one more segment where I can offer some kind of, hey, check this out. You know, this might help you. If not doing it the way I did it, at least it's something for you to see the way I did it, and things to do and things to avoid. Certain things you may not like I did, like what I did, which is fine. I'm not a professional boat builder. I mean, definitely, if I were to do this again, I would do things differently. But we all say that after you've done something once, right? So anyway, please enjoy this video. I will be posting it right away, obviously, if you're going to be listening to what I'm telling you here. And once again, I really got to thank you for subscribing. It actually, I'm starting to find it motivates me to post a little bit more. I'm definitely trying to put content that will benefit somebody. If not, at least I'm letting you know where I'm at with the project, because people are checking in all the time. I've got over 1,600 likes, which is nice. So I know people must be looking at the videos, at least, if not subscribing. So people are looking at it. So that encourages me to just keep on doing it, because it's really not easy to make these videos. While you're working, you got to remember your video time is going. You got to make sure your camera is running properly. I can't edit anything I'm doing. It's all rough. The way I post it is exactly the way I take it, and that's the best I can do right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. More bugs. So bear with me. It's coming together. I'm telling you, it's coming together. So my goal here is to try to get this done by the middle of August. All the sanding and all the priming. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks here, so I'm going to have a little gap in my construction, or possibly even videos, for at least 3 weeks. I'm also going to be waiting till when I get back to buy more primer. And, I get it for $35 a quart, and it seems to go a long way, because a whole quart on the bottom, and that's 26 by 6. Of course, it tapers in the front, but just to give you an idea. Yeah, and we're going to get this. I'd like to stand back and look at it and go, yeah, it's done for next year. For the only thing I have to do after that, obviously, is figure out how to flip it. That's going to be the big one. This thing, woodwork and resin, excuse me, and the fiberglass mat should come in at about 2,800 pounds. That's the estimated weight on the plans. It's a heavy boat, maybe. I don't know if it's heavy for a 30-foot boat. I don't know much about 30-foot boats. But definitely it will be a challenge. It'll be a challenge to try to figure this how to flip this boat over. I got a tree right over it here. I might be able to use a limb and put a strap around it to the opposite side and jack it until she flips right over, and get some used tires, or get a air mattress, but don't fill it full of air, you know what I mean? So it comes down, it'll catch it and not blow the mattress. Stuff like that. And then once it's over, I'll have to figure out a way how to lift it up and make wooden stands for it about, a foot or two off the ground, so I can start preparing. And this time I'll have to cover it, to keep the weather out until the inside's all done. Yeah. Boy, that's a lot of work. Anyway, the poly would probably cost me about $100. A 10-foot wide poly by 80 feet, I think they sell it at, is the smallest. I get the construction poly. It's heavy. It's about 6 mil or something like that. And I'll be making a structure over it, not as elaborate as the one I had originally in the beginning of my videos. You'll see it there. But definitely something that will handle the wind and keep the weather off until I get the inside waterproofed. I'm also going to make the front a tiny bit higher than the back. In case I do get water in it, it's going to run to the back, which is the whole idea. That's all kinds of stuff I got running in my head. Now I got a small 14-footer over there. I'll show you it. And that's a 50 size motor on it. It's a nice little boat. It belongs to my daughter. She picked it up for a really good price. The engine's pretty well brand new. There's about 12 hours running time on it. She picked it up off an older fella that, well, he had that and a very big cabin cruiser. So obviously he was in a position to be doing some serious boating. So I want to redo the seats and modify the inside just a little bit so it's more comfortable. And I'd like to get that on the water probably next spring. So we'll see what happens with that. So I got enough here to keep myself busy. I hear COVID's coming back, guys. Holy crap. COVID is coming back. Ottawa has several cases of it down there. I don't know how big the spread is, but I hear it's coming back. I refuel AHS's aircraft at the airport here at Edmonton. I haven't seen any cases come through worth talking about, and I'm not supposed to, so I can't verify either way, but I hear COVID is making a play back. So what I'm going to suggest to everybody is perhaps watch your distance between you all, and don't go out of your way to accidentally get sick, okay? Because I hear this is variant 6 or 7. It's mind-blowing, right? So I worked there, and I've been lucky for the last 2 years. I haven't got sick with COVID. I've been lucky so far. I'm kind of scared of it because I don't know how sick I could get. I hear people are dying from it. You've seen television over the last 2 years, especially at the beginning. It got really bad. So I'm just going to put a call out there to watch yourselves, take care of yourselves, and protect yourselves, okay? So this is Dan's 30-foot dory bill, bringing you another segment of this is what I've done this week. All right? Enjoy the video. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Stick around. I'll have more for you.